Now, with barely 24 hours for us to commence that very important meeting between the Ghana Football Association and the Minister of Youth and Sports, who issued a statement and said many people in this republic are extremely disappointed in the rather poor performance of the Black Stars in the, I almost said just ended AFCON. I mean, it ended for some of us anyway. But in the AFCON that's currently ongoing, the conversation is moving to the point where various stakeholders in that field are asking big questions. Did we make the right decisions from the beginning? Did the GFA act in our interests by appointing the current coach? Do we have enough quality players to play in the future as we prepare towards the World Cup? What can we do to fix the Black Stars currently? Luckily, my guest in studio is a man who took us to the 1982 African Championship. Let's not forget, I'm sure some of you were not born, but that was the last time Ghana won the AFCON. 1982. The man who did the magic for us, and sometimes he's too modest to say he did the magic, is my guest on Upfront today. We have a couple of lessons we want to pick up from him. Already, I'm sensing and I've seen what he has written elsewhere, suggesting that a lot of heads must roll. That conversation we'll be having. But we should be able to get the minority in Ghana's parliament, especially those on the sports committee, tell us what their stance on this matter is. I understand they have a statement in the offing, a statement that's supposed to communicate their position on what is really happening. Many say this is our worst performance at that level ever in our history. Are we moving from the glory days to the days where nobody will regard Ghanaian football? That's certainly not what we want. But let me welcome Zaibo to Upfront. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing fine.
You watched the match, right? Our
yes,
very last match.
Everybody did. Well, most people
I get you. I mean, let's understand it from your perspective. How did you feel when you compared deep within your heart the times you would to watch the Black Stars in the 80s or during your time to the current performance or what was displayed against Comoros that day?
I think the problem with me was that I thought this with Comoros, it was going to be a walkover. So I was shocked when that did not happen. So you can see that, you can imagine the disappointment that I faced as a
I mean, many of us felt for Comoros, yeah, really.
Well, I thought it was a walkover.
Yeah, we all thought that was the case.
It didn't happen.
Okay.
So obviously we were all disappointed. But I'm sure a lot of things could have been done differently.
Okay.
I'm not a technical person, so I can't say much about that.
Brilliant. I'll come back to you, but let me go to Parliament. Let me speak to the ranking member on the Sports Committee of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Kobina Mensah Woyome is a member of Parliament. He joins us with some thoughts on this matter. Honorable Kobina Mensah Woyome, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I mean,
good evening to you, the panelists, and your viewers.
Before I ask you whether officially you have issued your statement expressing your position on the current conversation about Ghanaian football, how do you feel about our loss? Disappointed, but how much of a disappointment was this to you?
Well, thank you. Yes, the statement, we're still having some little conversation about it, whether to let it go now or probably we make it a statement on the floor of Parliament on Tuesday when we resume Congress. And so we will take the final decision at the close of this tomorrow. However, the question is how do we feel? I mean, just to share the sentiment as everybody else. We are not happy, disappointed, and if there's any qualification to describe the disappointment, then I'll say it is the worst form of it. And so we are not so happy knowing at least that we couldn't have at least be losing too much with teams that we believe we could do better against. You know, Comoros, for instance. I mean, on the continent of Africa, when we want to mention football nation, and over the years, historically, you should mention Ghana, if not the first, maybe among the top one. And so, I don't know, something went wrong, and therefore, We've observed a few things, and we'll put all out when the statement comes out.
But
maybe by Tuesday on the floor of Parliament.
In the interim, though,
I
I'm interested in finding out some thoughts from you on the statement that was issued by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Do you think there are someone of the GFA officials and leadership is in the right place?
Well, I would say it's unofficial work they are carrying out, and they ought to be on top of every way forward in terms of preparation, because they've been financing these teams, and so they should have a briefing constantly and be able to decipher whether those briefings were okay by them before moving on to the next stage. So having crossed all those stages, and we are where we are today, I don't know. It will just be good and appropriate to ask themselves, and maybe, of course, the GFA, what happened. And so maybe I'll consider the summoning or the call with mixed feelings anyway, but then it's worth it. Let's see what comes out of it.
Now, there's a point they made, and since you have also been involved in oversight roles in Parliament on the Youth and Sports Ministry, the point they made was that government provided the team all the needed logistical and financial support, including resources for preparation and participation in the qualifier stage to the tournament and eventually a pre-tournament campaign in Qatar. The ministry is particularly disappointed in their team's performance. Were these enough resources for the performance that we had expected of the Black Stars?
Definitely, we are not expecting this form of result. Even if all didn't go well in terms of resource allocation and meeting all their needs, Black Stars should remain Black Stars, and some level of commitment should be able to come to play. And on the side of everybody, every key stakeholder in this matter, to ensure from the playing angle, the players themselves, the technical bench, and everybody that ought to play a key role in ensuring that the result is not so humiliating as it is currently.
Okay.
I mean, that, for me, it's a sad one. But then the issue regarding the statement, whether that is what it is or or it is not, will remain an issue for us to verify from the people that demanded and presented budget seriously for the ministry to be able to meet.
Okay.
And so this is on the side of the government. But I can tell you what we're doing, whether it is just the usual way of going about it, when we know football has been sinking. And I'm sure when you listen to our statement when it comes out, we have identified so many things that we think the system ought to have taken steps maybe a while ago, long before even going into all this tournament, to arrest some of the things, for instance, selection of players, how the modalities, if we've already noticed some non-performance on the side of other national teams, and then when it comes to club level, we've not been able to perform, and so many things are weighted heavily against the performance of football in general in the country. And I think there ought to have been some degree of diagnosis into that and some remedies put in place before going into all this. And when we ask the question, we are always assured that everything is fine. And here we are.
There's a question, though, about heads rolling. There are some who have demanded the coach must go first. Others have even extended it to the officials at a GFA. They think they are also collectively responsible for what has happened to our football, and that there's a need for fresh air and fresh faces.
No, I don't think we should be going there to ask for people's heads to roll. First and foremost, we need to do a thorough diagnosis, even though we are aware that there's a non-performance on the part of people. And so let's be very thorough in that. And when we are very sure, then we can begin to act. Because when we are saying heads must grow, maybe we might be saying it with emotion. Let's exactly know exactly what happened. You know, like and already issues have come up, and we have actually documented some already. And by tomorrow, we'll be getting a lot more. And so the issues need to come fully, so that when we put out what we think we know, and then maybe we might call on Mr. Speaker to probably ask the committee to invite DFA to do further, you know, after the statement is read. That might be a request. And if Mr. Speaker, you know, so things so and allows us to go into some degree of investigation, or probably asking some relevant questions on behalf of the people and getting some key answers and seeing how we move forward with, you know, how to remedy the situation, because we have not too far away qualifiers to World Cup. And this will be the short term. And then we also have to be thinking about the long term, how to overhaul the entire system. Very, very important and key. And so these are all 2-3 prong approach we'll probably might be suggesting after we know what the issues are.
Certainly, we sure will be coming back to you when you officially release your statement and tell us what the minority in Ghana's parliament think about what's currently happening to Ghana's football. Many thanks to you, ranking member on the Youth and Sports Committee. Why am I stuck up with it? Anyway, but thank you so much, Honorable Kobina Mensah Woyome. Well, I guess we can move on then. Well, let me welcome you once again. And we know a lot of things have happened. And we know you, for example, might support those who say there should be some fresh air at both the GFA and also at the coaching level. There's a huge call on the Republic and the GFA to sack the coach. Is that where you would start from?
No, I wouldn't start from there, even though I have said that on some platforms. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a need for us to do a thorough technical review of what happened to the Black Stars.
Okay.
You see, the problem with this country is we have reduced everything to partisan politics.
Okay.
All of a sudden, we are back to minority, majority. Mm-hmm. This is football. Mm-hmm. Where are the football faces in this country? Where are the technical people? They should be able to tell us, look, we have journalists who report on football.
Yeah.
We have technical people who support the various clubs in this country.
That's true.
I mean, Kotoko, House of Folk, these clubs are doing very exceedingly well. But once again, we have gone back to political discussions. Instead of talking about the technical aspects of the game, what happened? They say the ministry says it gave them all the resources. What resources are we talking about? Are we talking of footballs? Are we talking of jerseys and shirts? Or did it include moral support? Because sometimes what a team needs is not just the money. This is another problem.
Okay.
We tend to promise people money instead of saying, look, can you behave with some patriotism? Can you play as a Ghanaian? Because the nation is relying on you. But we go back to the question of how much are we going to pay them? Mm-hmm. So the player is on the field and he's busy thinking of, how much will be in the envelope he will get from the GFA. And I find that very unhelpful. I think we need to go back to playing football. In the past, when we were children even, House of Folk, Republicans, Kotoko, we didn't have a lot of money, but we played football. And I think that we need to say, look, how can we keep politics out of football? And when I say politics,
is it
I mean
possible?
Partisan politics.
But is it really possible? Because
it is possible.
You need to report to the people of this republic that when I was president, or during my time, these successes were chalked. And as we speak, I mean, you are in here because you perhaps was our last victory man. Mm-hmm. So we cannot divorce the two because they are all very passionate issues for people in this country. Don't you think so?
No. When I say keep politics out, what I mean is football is a technical affair. People know how to play it, people don't know how to play it.
Okay.
Let us keep partisan politics out of it. If you are going to appoint a technical team for, let's say, Black Stars, you don't look at them and say, look, this person is from my party or not from my party. And so what we did, which was successful in '82, and I think when we were in Libya, almost all the other countries really appreciated what we did. Seriously technical. The coach, his technical team, and his support.
But what you're not telling people is that prior to that, you sacked people.
That was, yes. Because prior to that, Ghanaian football was in a very bad state. There's no doubt.
How different is that state from where we find ourselves today?
I think it's almost the same.
Really?
Yeah. There was a lot of infighting. I haven't heard of any infighting, and I don't know what goes on in there. But in that case, there was a lot of infighting. And the infighting, even though it was not based on party politics, had some politics around it.
I see.
Yeah, there was.
And when you say infighting, was it related to players, management team?
That's the funny thing. It had nothing to do with the players and the management team.
Really?
It was basically the GFA. And it was usually about who goes on trips. Black Stars is going to Comoros. Everybody wants to go. Black Stars is going to, let's say, Egypt. Everybody wants to go. And those were the causes of the problems within the Black Stars.
I see.
The Ghana Football, no, not the Football Association, the Ghana Sports Writers Association had identified this as a major problem in the Black Stars. To the extent that even when the Liman government said Ghana was not going to participate, they were really happy. I said, yes, there was no point going there, because you're just going to be fighting among yourselves anyway.
I see.
So getting rid of them was to say, look, let us get rid of the old group, bring in a new group, which is going to concentrate solely on the technical aspects of the game. Fortunately, there were no parties then for us to worry about.
But didn't we do that with the exit of the Nyantechi team and fresh elections and all those being carried out now?
Well, that's what I thought.
Does the evidence suggest that that was a very successful exercise?
The evidence so far suggests that it was not successful. It was not successful at all.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you see, I heard about this election business yesterday when somebody wrote to me and said, we had an election, so you cannot sack the GFA.
Yes.
So thank you for telling me that. But
so your time is different? It was different during your time?
Of course it was.
The GFA was not as organized as it was today?
No, I think we were better organized.
Really?
That's the truth. I think, you see, the GFA prior to my coming, I said there was a lot of infighting. But there were a lot of other interest groups influencing the GFA. You had the Sports Writers Association, you had the team, those representing the various clubs.
Okay.
You had businessmen trying to influence the team because they always wanted to go on trips and so on and so forth. So it's the same. The difference, when I changed the composition of the Ghana Football Association.
You changed it?
Yeah, basically. Basically, I sacked the old group. It was a military regime, don't forget. So things were much easier. So things were much easier. You didn't have to consult anybody.
Yeah.
So one afternoon, I sacked all of them, got the Sports Writers Association to actually recommend a group of people. And don't forget, those were before the FIFA days.
Okay, yeah.
So
no
you didn't have all these problems around your neck. So but basically, I got the Sports Writers Association to recommend a group of people. They recommended people who really were committed to the game. And that is another thing, commitment to the game.
Oh, I see.
It's about commitment. You are committed to the Ghana Black Stars. You are committed to Ghana football. You are not there because you think there's going to be a huge envelope waiting for you in your hotel room. No. It was about commitment. And I think that is what made a difference. Because the Black Stars in those days, when we were in Libya, could see that those of us who were not the technical team themselves, whereas poor as they were not giving any money. Yeah, we didn't have any money to give to anybody.
Bonus?
No. We didn't have any bonus.
Winning whatever they get?
No.
They were basically not paid at all?
They were basically not paid. Eventually, they were giving something.
Oh, okay.
Eventually.
After they won?
After they won. But even if they had not won, they still would have been given something. Okay. Because eventually, Professor Mills, who was then the chairman of the Ghana, of the
Sports Council.
Okay. He basically organized football matches across the country, raised some money, and paid them off. But when we were in Tripoli, every country was promising its players cars and houses and this, and we couldn't promise anything like that. Eventually, I got to promise them that we'll give them cars.
Oh, I see. Interested.
It was never going to happen.
Oh, really?
No. Because we didn't have the cars. These cars belong to people. You couldn't just go and take it and hand it over to other people. Yeah. But we thought about it. But the point is, Commitment.
So you think, I mean, there's a question that's bugging my mind. The question is about, why is it that since 82, we have not been able to win any other AFCON?
I think since 82, we've taken our eyes off the ball, so to speak.
How so?
How so? You see, you need to continuously get new players, get young people interested in the game, and actually put some money in the game. When I say put money in the game, what I mean, you invest in football, but you don't invest in football to the extent that the people who are benefiting from it are not even the footballers, but politicians, not technical staff, but politicians. I mean, a very good example is what I saw from my television screen during the last World Cup. Is it the last? Or the last bet one?
Oh, okay. What was the problem there?
Well, the one where we carried money all the way to...
Oh, yeah, the one that we airlifted money to.
We airlifted money. I mean, that was a very good example of how not to do things. You don't do
But they have to pay, right? The players say that the bonuses, I mean, they're always a difficulty getting the bonuses.
All they had to do was to get Mahama to call each of them and talk to them.
That's all.
I had similar problems, yes. These people, these guys belong to class. They're either coming from Kotoko or Hasofo.
Or outside.
Mm-hmm. You call them and talk to them. There are many ways of handling this. It's not, and not every. You see, well, I don't see why this country you throw money at everything and it doesn't work. We throw money. Okay, you did it. So did that take us to the finals of the World Cup?
No. Good. There are some that are saying that
you satisfy them.
We've
all
not
right.
invested enough in football.
This is what I'm saying. We've not invested enough, but we also need to sit down with people and say, look, what kind of investment do we want to put in football? Do we want to build stadia? Do we want to have a process whereby young people, school children, those in the GHS, SHS, and so on coming up, are given an opportunity so that we can recruit the best of Ghanaian youth into football? And then to cut out all this constant bickering among ourselves as to who is best. When I said we should sack the GFA, I actually meant it. I didn't say sack the players.
Okay.
I didn't say sack the players.
The GFA, the current.
I said sack the current GFA. They have failed. It's like a political party. If you go into an election and you perform so badly, you come home, your members ask you to go and sit down. You know, we should be sympathetic with the players. They did their best on the field.
But some say we don't have quality players.
Well, I don't know that. I'm not a technical person.
Okay.
I think from what I saw, they were good enough.
They were good enough?
They were good enough. We're just not lucky. I mean, let's face it. Sometimes luck
plays a role in
this thing. We're just not lucky.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, did you notice also that compared to our last performance in the World Cup, there was hardly any interest?
Yeah, the support was low.
Very low.
Because of the recent history.
Well, I didn't see any Ghanaian flags. I didn't see people shouting Black Stars. I mean, you ask yourself, really, so what were we going to do there? What were we doing? That is because even at the home ground, on our own home grounds, we got to carry these young men all the way to Dubai or Qatar.
Qatar, yeah.
What for?
Training, preparation. The ministry says it was adequate preparation.
You mean they couldn't have gone to Takrady? They could have gone to Cape Coast. You see, this is the problem, because when you go there, you generate interest. Citizens come out to see their football team practicing. They get to know who is who. But if one day you wake up and you see 11 young men on the field representing Ghana, and you don't even know their names, it is also an example of the patriotism I'm talking about. We need to be careful how we spend money. You don't throw money at everybody. We went to Qatar because we had the money. 82, we didn't go anywhere. Got them together, got the Libyans to help us with buying us jerseys and footballs and so on and so forth.
Oh, okay, so they bought us jerseys.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did. All our football kit, basically, they did. And they did not even have the time to practice. This is the point.
But that's the same excuse they gave here, that they didn't have enough time to train. In fact, the GFA president says the coach had been with the team for less than 3 months. So we really could not put all the blame on him because he met a fresh team. Well, basically he's getting to know them now.
Maybe I don't really have problems with the coach. I think the problem is with the GFA. GFA knew, right, that we're going to take part in AFCON.
Yeah, for a very long time.
For a very long time. When did they put the team together? When did they send them out to practice? And who was in charge? Even if there was no coach, there were a lot of Ghanaian
But there was
football.
Sika Akono before they...
Even the old, yeah. So, and even Kwesi Appiah, right?
Yeah.
So there's enough talent in this country. We are not exploiting the talent in this country. We are not.
Were you opposed to the foreign coach approach?
I think we had a discussion with you. I was opposed to the foreign coach approach, right? My thinking
Not
was
because you're a socialist. I mean,
oh, no, it's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
It's purely technical. Purely technical. I think Ghana should rely...
But on paper, I mean, Milo looked like the great guy to go to. Not from recent history, but for what he has done with us before.
No, I keep saying that I am proud that we went to Libya with a Ghanaian coach, with a Ghanaian technical team, and we won. And that's what I want to see. Even if he's the best coach in the world, there are a lot of cultural issues involved in these things. He will never understand them, right? I mean, let's face it, throughout Africa, which team has won the World Cup because they had a white coach or a foreign coach?
But we have not won World Cup before. So
No, that's what I'm saying. No, Africa.
Yeah,
I'm just not talking about Ghana this time. Say Africa.
Africa has no
it doesn't really
World
make
Cup.
any sense.
Yeah.
The Senegalese have their own coach. I think was it Gabon? He is also, anyway, don't let me go into those details. I will make mistakes.
Yeah, okay.
My point is, we wasted too much time, even in appointing the coach. You do not appoint a coach 3 weeks or 3 months to a serious, contest like AFCON. And it was a mistake. They knew. Are you telling me that they were not collecting their allowances all this time? GFA.
As in the officials of the GFA?
Yes. They were collecting allowances. So what were they doing? What were they doing? And why can't you get together all the brilliant coaches from Kotoko, House of Folk, and all these people and say, look, help us beat this team into shape? We didn't do that. You get up and pack all these young men and take them to Qatar. That heat, full of heat. I mean, you have been to Qatar. Qatar is like Dubai. It's hotter than Tamale. If you want heat, go to Tamale. You see what I mean?
I get
we
you.
just did not prepare. Lack of preparation. And preparation should not start 3 months to AFCON or to any contest. Preparation should be on a daily basis. On a daily basis. You should know your team. You should know who is playing where. Because I've heard commentary that people saying that, oh, some of these people did not even know each other until 3 weeks before the... So, and that's why sometimes there was disorganization. And apart from that, the indiscipline.
Why? At the management or the playing level?
At the playing level. Those young men can be told to behave better. You know, there was a lot of indiscipline after the Gabon match.
Oh, okay.
What happened was disgraceful. It was unnecessary. God, we don't do that. But what I'm saying is that, yes, we have the money now, but we must know how to spend the money. If you don't know how to spend the money, then you better not have it. And this is why we failed.
They are also saying that it might be a wonderful idea to think of replacing the current GFA. But the truth of the matter is that if you sack them now, you will get the wrath of FIFA or any of the playing bodies.
FIFA doesn't rule this country. I'm fed up with this FIFA excuse. Does FIFA rule Ghana?
But we have agreed that the footballing unit would have a certain level of autonomy,
yes,
which will make it consistent and deliver, and that interference of such heavy-handed nature should not be happening.
Yeah, but if that is leading to... How have we performed since FIFA started interfering in our football? Ask yourself. Most African countries are not happy with it. But I'm not saying...
But Nigeria indeed also dismissed the fear from FIFA. They went off for like 2 years and came back and they won the AFCON.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that FIFA should not be another excuse.
Okay.
Aside. The government can sit down with the GFA and say, look, things are not working. They can resign. Yeah, they can resign. And in which case, FIFA has no excuse. I don't want us to blame FIFA for this. I think that as a country, we need to have a group of Ghanaians, right? Combine of technical, politicians, financial, whatever. Get them together and say, look, what is wrong with Ghanaian football? Tell us what is wrong with Ghanaian football. And let's have a common, very honest discussion about our football. That's what we're not doing. And this discussion should be made of people who are not going to be paid any allowances and no lunch and no dinners and so on and so forth.
Is this not an old method? Will they work now?
In fact, it will work better now.
It's a period where resources matter.
I'm not saying don't pay Black Star players.
Yeah. But when you say that they cut out allowances,
I'm talking about GFA.
Yeah.
I'm talking about GFA. And some of these people who hang around. You see, you find out that most of those who hang around Ghanaian football were people in our time, were people who had nothing to do with football.
Oh, I see.
They had nothing to do with football. So what were they there for? So when they bring you a list of people who are traveling to, let's say, Dakar to play the Senegalese team, I used to ask, who are all these people? You put aside the players, the support team, and the technical and whatever, that is it. Then you have a lot of people just hanging around. What are they doing? Nothing. But those we don't need.
I see.
We have good teams like House of Folk, Kotoko, and others. Why can't we get them together, plus their coaches, plus some of the people who have retired? There are some old giants who are no longer playing, even Abedi Pele, who is not playing. They say, look, how different was it in your time, and what can we do to bring Ghanaian football back? Because I don't want to dismiss Ghanaian football as dead. No, I think Ghanaian football is not dead. We can bring it back if we do the right things. And doing the right things means not concentrating so much on money. We are spending too much money and useless arguments. And then, in doing this, let us put aside our partisan nature. Everything in Ghana these days is about two groups.
We'll be wrapping up in this conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, do they consult you?
No. I think you're the first person. First, don't forget that first it was a PNDC.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting on well with my old friends in the PNDC.
Yes.
Came back and, no. You're the first person to actually ask me these questions.
So why are they not consulting you?
Well, I'm not a technical person.
Yes, but I mean, it requires management too. It looks like the problem is beyond the technical problem today.
Yeah, apart from the fact that I also don't belong to any party, so I'm partyless.
You are not of partisan interest.
No.
But that's not the criteria for consultation.
No, it shouldn't be. This is the problem. This is what I'm saying. That look, you do not need. There are a lot of technical people out there. I'm talking about serious technical people who know about football. The gentleman who was with us at the last discussion.
Yeah, Ken.
I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Yeah. He seemed to be somebody who knows a lot about football.
He was a sports journalist.
Yeah. People like that are there. People like that have ideas. Those are the ones you should consult. They are young. They've been around football and so on and so forth. These ones don't need, you don't even need to pay them. They will do it.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, that the sports ministry should think about these things like that. So the sports ministry issuing a statement, for me, it is neither here nor there.
Really?
Yeah.
There are someone in the GFA to come and account for the investments we've made as a people in their operations.
Well, if they can summon them, they might as well sack them.
Really?
Yeah. You see, you are summoning the GFA to come and talk about the investment you put in it. What I'm saying is that the first thing you do is let the boys come home, take a rest, call them together, have a discussion with them, have a drink with the boys, and say, what can you do better next time? Even with your old white coach, what can you do better? But we are rushing. Because we lost this thing and we've been sent home, we are rushing into things, and it doesn't work like that.
I get you. We will be consulting you consistently, but many thanks to you for joining us here today.
Right.
Folks, Zaibo is the man who was minister or secretary of sports in 1982 when we last won AFCON. Some wise words from him on our front today. Many thanks to you for joining us. I'm sure we'll still keep in touch with what's happening as the mine explosion in the western regional town of Apiati near Bogoso. And many, we understand, are also still trapped. And we sure should be following up and give you some more detail on that. Thank you so much for watching Upfront.